Hi, my name is Caleb, and this is my I@167 A4 final project. The name of my game is Praey, and it is a dungeon crawler themed, exploration themed game that rewards and encourages players as they navigate their environment. You're gonna go up against a bunch of different enemies, and you're gonna have to clear them as you try and clear out this dungeon. This is you, the little player, and this is you entering this big, scary dungeon, trying to figure out what's going on. So we're gonna press start to get into it, and immediately we're gonna have two options. The first is to play, so that's to start playing the game, and the second is a tutorial, how to play. So we're gonna start with the tutorial, and immediately you're gonna spawn in this little tutorial room. It is an interactive tutorial, meaning that all of your actions coincide with the tutorial itself. It's not just a picture of instructions. So to start, a few things. I have designed and created all these images and assets myself on Illustrator. Same with the animations, attacks, bosses, enemies, blah, blah, blah. The music, however, was taken off of YouTube and other free online sources. Those are credited in the description, as well as commented in my code. So this is my first animation. It is an idle animation where the player is hyperventilating. I meant they're just bobbing up and down. We're gonna start the tutorial and press E. Move with WASD. This is my second animation. It is a movement animation. So as you can see, his tiny little feet are moving. He's also going in the direction that he's moving. Next up is my dash animation. So he's gonna do like a little Naruto dash, get a little bit of smoke behind him because he's moving so fast. And what you can do with dash is WASD plus space will dash you in a direction. And this is pretty important because as you progress later into the game, you're gonna need dash, otherwise you're gonna die because there's so many bullets. While you're dashing, you're immune to damage and you phase through bullets. Next up are the attacks. So this is my fourth animation. This is the first attack. It is a ranged sword attack, slash. There is another attack, and that is the dagger, where he goes like he does a little kung fu. He goes crazy, he goes feral. You get the point. But what the dagger does is it does an insane amount of damage, which you'll need later as enemies get more health. And it's just, if an enemy gets too close to you, you can always use a dagger and just get them off you. So now we're actually gonna test it against the enemies, as the tutorial is telling you to spawn in some enemies. That's the first one, here's the second one. And upon killing those two, you have completed the tutorial. So it's gonna tell you press O to view controls, and this doubles as a pause button. Everything up here, WSD move, space, blah, 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 we went over in the tutorial. This is all your essential stuff. Down here in utility are the special power-ups, which you will unlock later on in the game, and I'll talk about later. Now we're gonna exit the tutorial with E and hop into the actual game. So immediately you're gonna notice a few things are different. First of all, we have this map up here, and the map is, how this game works is there are 3 levels and they're split into, each level possesses X amount of rooms, 5 or more rooms. The farther you go in the levels, the higher the level is, the more rooms there will be. And there are 4 types of rooms. There is the standard room, which I'm in right now with nothing on it. You can tell I'm in it. I'm in the bottom left room because it is grayed out on the map. And in the bottom right, we have the boss room. How the game works is you must clear the boss, you must kill the boss before you're allowed to progress further to the next level. So the boss is always gonna be the last room that you clear. And in the middle right is a mystery exclamation mark room, and the mystery exclamation mark room is basically a room with a surprise buff in it, and it's up to the player to figure out what it is. There are 2 types of them, so those are the 2 types of rooms, and there's also the boss and the standard room. So how the standard rooms work are, after you clear a certain amount of enemies, 2 things are gonna happen. 1, a chest will spawn in, and 2, this doorway will open up to the next room. So the chests, if I go close to them, will prompt me to open them with E, and they'll reward me a random amount of coins, which are stored on the top left GUI. I have 2 coins, 0 health pots and 0 armor. I'll get into those more detailed later, but basically health pots heal you, coins are the currency, and armor level determines how much damage you take. Upon interacting with this door and going into it, I go into the second room, and immediately you're gonna notice a few things are different. There are new enemies, and they are shooting bullets at me. So a big point in this game is the enemy aspect, and as you get further into the dungeon, the enemies will actually differ. They're gonna get stronger, faster, do more damage, as well as you're gonna be introduced to new enemies the farther you progress into the game. So like those guys that were shooting versus the guys that just chased you. So I'm gonna unlock this chest, and I'm feeling pretty good. I cleared those guys in record time. Took almost no damage, and if you remember, once you clear the boss, you can move on to the next level. And what's nice about this game is you can sort of explore the dungeon how you like, to an extent. So I'm gonna skip over going through these 2 rooms and wasting time and get right into the boss fight. So this is a boss spawner. Essentially, when you enter the room, I didn't want you to immediately get like one-shotted by the boss. I wanted you to have time to prepare, get in your gamer chair, get your mouse set up, I don't know, whatever you do. But basically, once I press E, it'll start the boss fight. So as you can see, this boss is completely different from any other boss, any other enemy that you've ever seen, and that is because the bosses are unique from the enemies. This guy's shooting a ton of bullets, and I think I'm gonna die. Yeah, I died. Okay, so when you die, it'll tell you what level you died at. So I died at level 5, and it'll prompt you to restart. So while I'm getting back to where I was, I'm gonna quickly talk about the bosses. And essentially, the thing with the bosses are all completely unique from the enemies. No boss is similar to the enemies. They have multiple different attacks except for the level 2 boss, and they all have their own unique design. So that boss right there shot a ton of bullets and has 2 attacks, and the other one was a super fast beam that deals a lot of damage. Right, so right there in that chest, I got an item too. The chests are all random number generators, so it is possible to get items from the chest, though it's pretty rare. And this time, instead of going into that boss fight and getting completely destroyed again, I'm gonna choose to explore the room up here and see what there is. So yeah, this game, a lot of it is about exploring, and this game really rewards you for exploring your environment. So I want to go into that exclamation mark room, and immediately I'm going to see this angel, this NPC. So if I go up to it, it'll prompt me, I wish to bestow upon thee a gift, to press E to interact with it. So I'm going to press E, and I'm going to gain this little white bar down here, and it's going to tell me, you've unlocked shield, right click. So if I right click, wow, I got a shield. Shield's pretty self-explanatory in what it does. It blocks all bullets, and you're immune while it's up. It also pushes enemies back, and as you can imagine, that is essential for the boss fight. With that guy spawning that many bullets, it's impossible to dodge them all. So this game rewards you for exploring, as I've said, and I'll say many times. This shield is going to help tremendously in this boss fight, and yeah, it's up to you to figure out how you want to explore the dungeon. So I'm going to start at popping the shield and clear all his bullets up here, push him in the corner, get him down, and then I'm going to run back a little, and boom, dead. That was so easy. So once again, it's always a good idea to explore the dungeon. You do have, you can explore however you like, but it doesn't hurt. And as we get into level 2, you're going to notice a few things are different. So number 1, these guys are moving a lot faster. I have to actually pop my shield up. And number 2, these guys are taking 2 shots to kill. So like I said, the enemies get stronger in the dungeon the farther you progress. So now they're going to have 6 health. And I'm going to take this opportunity to showcase some of the cool interactions with my weapons and my abilities. So if I switch to dagger, which I just did by pressing T, the dagger does a tremendous amount of damage. It's enough to one-shot basically any basic enemy, not including the boss that you go up against. The issue is you have to be very close to use a dagger. So what I can do is I can dash, because while I'm dashing, I don't take any damage, and I can poke the enemies with the dagger really quickly and instantly kill them. So I'm gonna... Ow. But yeah, I did that. I took a little bit of damage because it's a little hard to pull off. But yeah, if I dash into an enemy, quickly click, then I can kill them. I did not mean to use my shield. I'm gonna wait for it to reset. So what the shield does, I forgot to mention, is that while this little bar is up, the shield's active. When it goes down, the shield's down, and then it recharges. So I'm gonna go in this room, and immediately you're gonna notice there are new enemies again. And once again, the enemies progressively get harder, stronger, the farther you go into the dungeon. And these guys are now shooting out 3 bullets. And this guy, if I let him touch me, will actually stick me in place. Oh, ow. And that is so that these guys can attack me while I'm trapped. And the thing about this game is the enemies work collaboratively to make your life miserable, to kill you. So ideally, those 4 trappers, they will trap your player, and while you're trying to deal with them, the other enemies will hit you with their 3 bullets, and you're gonna lose health very quickly. So it's really up to you to which hierarchy you want to take care of in terms of which enemies to kill first. At this point, you might be wondering, what are these coins for? I have no use for them. If we go into this next this next mystery room, we're going to see that there are 3 objects here, and this is the shop room. So in the shop room, you can spend your coins to buy items. So the first item is the cross. This is 99 coins. We have nowhere near enough for it. But what the cross does is, essentially, it revives the player if they die. You're not going to have anywhere close to this amount of coins and in level 2 before you can even afford the cross, but it does appear in level 3 again, so you can choose to save your coins if you want to save up for a cross. I am going to buy armor, 20 coins. So armor is 20 coins. I have 27 coins right here in my GUI. I'm going to purchase it. I have 7 coins now. But what armor does is it limits the amount of damage that you can take. So let's say I take let's say an enemy does 2 damage to me and I have 1 level of armor. I'm only going to take 1 damage. If an enemy does 1 damage to me and I have 1 level of armor, I'm taking 0 damage. So as you can imagine, armor is very important in this game. Without armor, well, as the enemies get stronger, you're going to have a hard time surviving because they do deal more damage. And finally, these are health pots. So if we open up O, it's pretty self-explanatory. Press 1 to use a health pot, restores 3 health. So I'm just going to spend the rest of my coins on buying them. And what's cool is that you're actually rate limited on buying items, so every half a second you can buy 1 item. This is to prevent you from spending all of your coins accidentally on 1 item. I'm going to go down here and explore this room, and it is not a monster room. Like I said earlier, this game rewards you for exploring, and by exploring this room, I have discovered a hidden NPC. And you might be thinking, hidden? Like, I already have shield. What can this NPC give me? Like, yeah, I'm good. But each NPC is different from the other in what it gives you. So this one has doubled my health, and it's things like this that just keep the game interesting. So I have double health, 8 health pots, 1 level of armor. I'm feeling pretty prepared for the boss fight, so I'm going to clear this room first. I'm going to clear these fast guys first just because they trap me, and I can get hit by bolts a lot easier. Take out these guys, take out these guys, take out these guys, and boom, clear the room, 9 coins. And now I'm gonna go into the boss room. So the thing you're gonna notice immediately is that this boss is very different from level 1. It looks this differently, it's floating, and there's all these little guys spawning around it. But essentially, all the bosses are unique from each other. They have their own unique attacks, behavior, movements, and that is what keeps this game interesting. So what this guy does is he fires these gigantic area attacks, and you have to dodge them. Those little yellow circles are going to tell you where the attacks are going to hit, and while you're in a yellow circle, you're not going to take any damage. So just like that. So you have like about 1 second to dash out, but as soon as it turns red, like that, you're going to take a lot of damage. So ideally you want to oh, I thought I'd take damage. Ideally you want to avoid the circles while they're yellow, dash out of them like I didn't have my dash was on cooldown, and then just kill the boss. So that is boss level 2, and all the bosses, like I said earlier, are completely unique from the enemies. They're completely unique from each other. They have their own attacks, behaviors, and just how they interact with the player. I'm a little low in health, so I'm going to press 1 and gain some health back from my health packs. Now I'm going to go into level 3. And as you can tell, things are harder again, so these guys are a lot faster, and these guys are shooting faster too. Ow. I'm also taking more damage, because these guys are doing 3 damage per hit. So yeah, I might need to get some upgrades. At this point, you can choose. If you look on the map, you can go right or left. Doesn't really matter, because either one will get you to the boss fight at the end. I'm going to go right, just because I like right as a direction. And I'm just going to work on clearing these enemies. Clear all the guys that are trapping me. You can see them right there. Clear these guys, and open this chest up, and I met another angel, and this time, this one's going to give me freeze. And if you open up O, P to use freeze, and what freeze does is just freezes all the enemies, so I'll demonstrate that in the next room. So, wow. So I froze all the enemies, and what I'm going to do is switch to my dagger, just because it does more damage. And they're all frozen, so it's not like they can damage me anyway. But freeze is almost up right here. So as soon as freeze goes down, I'm going to put my shield up and keep working at these enemies. But yeah, this is really laggy just because of how many enemies I have and the quality of these pictures, unfortunately. So I'm going to dodge, set freeze up again, switch to my dagger. One shot. And yeah. That's that. I have 17 coins, and this other door is opened up. So now it's a shop again. I don't have that many coins, so I'm just gonna buy health pots. I can't even buy another level armor. Hopefully this is okay for the final boss fight. So we're gonna heal up a little. So my health pots, 15 health pots, I should be fine. And we're gonna enter the final boss fight. So this boss is different because he shoots these beams. If you press freeze doesn't work on him. I'm gonna heal up, and essentially these beams you're gonna have to dodge and try and get past him like Flappy Bird. If you get close enough, he fires that big beam attack. So if I get close enough, he'll do that, and that will whittle my health away, but I had to shield up. But yeah, I'm gonna attack him. Keep going at him. And I cleared him. So yeah, that's it. That's the game. And once I go in here, victory, you've conquered this dungeon. Level 22, press E to restart. So yeah, that is my game. That's how you go through the dungeon. So I guess last remarks. Once again, I created all the images and assets myself. There are a couple different animations. So there's the idle animation, the walking animation, dash animation, attack animation, other attack animation. The chests have their own animation when they open. The boss altars have their own animation. And yeah, each of the bosses, enemies have their own assets that I've drawn personally. The map is drawn by me. This map right here is there are 4 different types of enemies. Sorry, 7 different types of enemies. 3 different types of bosses. Each are unique to their level, and they're unique from the enemies. You have the ability to go back and forth between rooms like this. The map, as you can see, is updating depending on which room I'm in. The chest system is all completely randomly number generated, and it can give you items sometimes. There are 2 different attacks. There's passive health regeneration. Yeah, 3 different bosses. The enemies do get harder as you progress past the dungeon. And yeah, I think those are all my main eco points. And then there's a variety of power-ups which we can see right here, as well as different stat modifiers such as health and damage. But yeah, with that being said, that is my game, and once again, none of the sound is mine, so it was all taken off of YouTube and other online sites that are going to be credited in the description. And yeah, thanks for watching.